These are the parts I'm going to be using today to do this job. Front brake pads and front rotors. These are the tools I'm going to be using today to do this job. A 1/2 inch cordless ratchet, 3/8 cordless ratchet, a 3/8 ratchet, a 3/8 breaker bar, a pipe to extend my breaker bar, 10mm socket, 21mm socket, 15mm socket, 13mm socket, 17mm socket, 7mm socket, small screwdriver, another small screwdriver, 13mm wrench, 1/4 inch ratchet, long nose plier, air gun, caliper piston compressor, rubber mallet, a hood prop, brake clean, a bottle of water with a hole on the top, ceramic grease, dielectric grease, and my brake flusher. First, I'm going to be loosening up the bleeder screw while the caliper is mounted on the car. So removing the caliper, there's 2 bolts, one here and one here. Removing the pads. Removing the caliper mount, there's 2 bolts, one here and one here. So I'm going to be squeezing my pistons back in. Opening up my bleeder screw. Compressing the piston. Can lock them up. So I'm going to be removing this ABS wire. There's a connector right in here, so remove it at the connector. So we're going to be removing the hub assembly with rotor. So there's 4 bolts back here that's bolting the bearing hub against the spindle. So we got to remove that. I took off the 4 bolts that bolt on the hub assembly to the spindle. Now I'm going to be removing the hub assembly. Be very careful, do not break the ABS wire while you're doing it. So removing the backing plate. Okay, turning this rotor around. Be careful not to break this wire. So I got a block of wood. So I'm going to unbolt the rotor from the hub. So there's 6 bolts I got to unbolt. Okay, turn this guy around. Now remove the rotor. So I'm going to be putting my new rotor on my hub. And bolt up the rotor to the hub. Bolting up my rotor to the hub. Okay, so put on your backing plate. Now we're going to put this assembly right into the spindle. Bolting up my ABS wire. Putting in some dielectric grease in my connector. Cleaning up my rotor with some brake clean. So I'm going to be lubricating the caliper mount, pulling out these pins and lubricating them. Cleaning up my pins. Putting some ceramic grease right in here. Lubricating my pins. Lubricating my hardware. So now we're going to install the caliper mount. Installing my caliper mount. Tightening up my mount. The rotor is spinning counterclockwise, so the wear indicator, we're going to be putting it on the bottom. Putting some grease in the back of this pad. Greasing up my caliper. Putting my caliper on. Bolting them up. Tightening them up. Now we're going to bleed the brakes. So first I hooked up my brake flusher to the master cylinder. Now we're going to bleed the brake. Opening up the bleeder screw. Let all the dirty fluid come out. When it gets clean, then lock them up. Shooting down my brake bleeder with some water. Drying them up. So I'm going to pressurize the system and check for leaks. I'm going to start up the vehicle. Pump the brake up and down no more than halfway until you feel pressure. It feels good. Now with my hood prop, one side against the brake pedal, the other side against the seat, we're going to pressurize the system about 15-20 seconds, and then we're going to check for leaks. This guy looks nice and dry, and you're all good to go. So that's how you replace front pads and front rotors. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I see you in the next video. Aloha.